7 now. You're on.
Good evening and welcome to the Tibet Center here on the Bowery. What is it? 273 Bowery. So we will begin with reciting the prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West, which you will find on the Tibet Center page below in the FAQ section. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems, and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness. May they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi, which examines the Dharmas called profound illumination. At the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, how should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge? And Avalokiteshvara answered, Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus, all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the Bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear, they transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future by means of transcendent knowledge fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, The mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth.
For there is no deception.
In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed. Tadyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Para Samgate Bodhisvaha. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering and the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Now we should generate bodhicitta. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain, to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So now let us recite one rosary of the Medicine Buddha mantra and dedicate the merit from having done so to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So, Tadyata Om Benganse Benganse Maha Benganse Raja Samudgate Svaha. Tadyata Om Benganse Benganse Maha Benganse Raja Samudgate Svaha. Benganse Benganse Maha Benganse Raja Samudgate Svaha. Tadyata Om Benganse Benganse Maha Benganse Raja. Tadyata Om Benganse Benganse Maha Benganse Raja Samudgate Svaha. Tadyata Om Benganse Benganse Maha Benganse. Tadyata Om Benganse Benganse Maha Benganse Raja Samudgate. Bhingatse Maha Bhingatse Raja Samudgate Swaha. So, we have been discussing Beyond Religion, Ethics for a Whole World by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And we have been talking about the importance of engaging in our actions with both compassion and mindfulness. So, in order to, mindfulness or discernment is the word that's used in the book, in order to have our actions be virtuous, it's important that we engage in them with a motivation of compassion. In order for our actions to successfully or be effective, it's important that we discern the best way to go about applying our compassionately motivated effort. So, we have arrived at page 78. Every situation we face in life arises from convergence of a great number of contributing factors. So taking a broad view is essential if our response is to be realistic. It is not enough to look at any given situation or problem from only one perspective. We need to look at it from this direction, that, and that direction, from all sides. As I often say, we should look from front, from back, the 2 dimensions, from right and left, 4 dimensions, from above and below, making 6 dimensions. When we do this, when we take this kind of broad or more holistic a perspective, our responses will definitely be more in tune with reality. And with this, we are more likely to achieve our objectives. So what's interesting is how His Holiness is, having really dwelt on the importance of engaging in our actions in a virtuous way, with a virtuous motivation, really being not just concerned with the effect of our actions on the other person or on the situation, but really working on ourselves to engage in the action with heart, with a concern for others, with going so far as to have the wish to remove any suffering of others, that compassionate spirit. Now he's sort of broadening the scope of our responsibility, and now we are being taught how to deal with a complex situation, with a sort of broad and complicated, intertwined situation within which we are acting virtuously, or working at acting virtuously. Now, what I find interesting about this is the idea of the complex situation, the idea of the complexity of the world world within which we live and within which we are performing, within which we are acting. And we all know that our efforts, our participation in this very complex situation is our effect, or our ability to really effect the situation is so minute, and the situation is so full of variables that it's easy to even lose hope or become disillusioned with our ability to do anything. It all looks and is incredibly complicated. And so, of course, to set our motivation with compassion, to set our motivation to be one not of working on how to get the most out of the situation for ourselves, but how to affect the most beneficial outcome for the greater amount of people, becomes, that's nice and easy. We can get our minds around that. It's not easy to do. It's easy to understand that's what we're trying to do. Then we have to actually assess the complexity of the situation and figure out how to take our steps along the process of affecting benefit. And so we have this complex world that we're navigating, and the complexity itself is interesting, because from one side, as we view it, we have to acknowledge, we have to recognize that the complexities are infinite, and there's no way that we can actually master them all. There's no way that we can bring order to even our view of the situation, let alone our participation in it. So what do we do about it? All right, throw that open to everyone. What do we do? How do we navigate? What do we do as we step into this complex situation?
Rely on a code of ethics, first of all, because there's so many things we don't
So
know about.
the code of ethics is the way in which we behave towards it. But if we're trying to figure out the complex situation, and where to step within it.
Yes.
Yes?
I think always we just do our best.
So, we do our best. Well, yes. Okay.
And then I think we can always find ways to improve our discernment. Of course, in the Buddhist teachings, there's very clear instructions on how to do that. But then otherwise, always looking for ways that we can have more mindfulness and have more ability to intellectually discriminate things will help us in making good choices.
And how do we go about improving our discernment?
I think it's really just engaging the mind. Always finding something that challenges the mind. How do we go about that engages with reasoning or analyzes? Maybe that's part of what His Holiness is saying, is look from different angles, is question things.
So, what I wanted to bring up is this complex situation itself, the complexity of the world that we are living in, the interdependence of the different elements, provide us, and I'm now speaking to a Buddhist audience, with an understanding of this idea that it's not as if it's a fixed thing, that interdependence, that the complexity itself, if viewed properly, shows us that there's a lack of fixedness about it, and that there is therefore a possibility of change, and that that our attitude and our what would you call it? Our participation, the quality of our participation itself affects the whole thing. That the interdependence is such that as we participate in a situation, we, with our tiny little effect or our tiny little effort, actually have the ability to bring about a rippling change to the whole thing. That's rather exciting.
But how?
By our heart, by our
What's best for such a being. Motivation. So
Yeah.
you don't know what to do, you do something saying, I hope it's best for such a being.
Can we also say that, you know, we need to nurture that kind of compassion?
we need to nurture it within ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have to say maybe like, you know, because we were seeing a lot of people nowadays turn away from religion. And it seems like, you know, that's why a lot of problem and, you know, doesn't have to be like a certain religion. At least like, you know, I grew up in a family that has religion. They have a belief. Friends that I know, they have a belief. Now these young generation, they don't have any beliefs. They don't, once they lose that kind of, you know, beliefs or whatever, there's nothing to back them up to be kind, you know? It's more like, yeah.
Yeah, that's their religion.
So they're
Yes.
turning away from compassion.
Right, also. It's like making a deal, you know? $1 is $1, you know? It's like things is, you know, it's dealing differently.
So the whole point of what we're discussing is beyond religion, is the whole idea that we're
Right.
that since we have so many different religions that have their own ideas of how to do things, of what's right and what's wrong, and how to go about our practice, and often they contradict each other. We have to find a way that isn't dependent on religion. It has to have logic. It has to have a basis in and of itself. And so we are addressing exactly what you're saying, which is we have to work at cultivating an understanding of its correctness without God having said that it's right, but just that it's evident. And His Holiness's idea is that engaging in it with compassion is what, let's say, purifies it, blesses it, makes it
It's not selfish.
but then, I mean, where what we're discussing now is the fact that's the motivation. Then we have to, with that motivation, figure out how best to engage. How best, even with that, I can think, I can cultivate compassion, I can really develop my heart, but then I have to actually go about trying to do something. And sometimes there are contradictions. What do we do? Do we do it this way? Do we do it? Sometimes we don't know. And of course, we can deepen our compassion, but still, compassion itself is not enough. We have to have a certain wisdom of how to
Discernment. That word again.
What I feel not just nice to the people. If you don't have the skill, you don't know what to do with it. Sometimes you think you are nice to them, but not really doing it. Because I don't have the wisdom because you not really know how to read. It's like a key. You have the key, you don't know how to open it, how to dig in. It's what I feel. It's very. And the other part I feel when I recent years I deal with the people, right? Yes, my English is good, but bunch of the people in different religion from different country. So now I will be more respect for the people when I'm talking to it. Where you from? If you don't mind, or you have the religion. Then to that step by step, I remember the last person I deal with the person. I feel the person plan to kill someone. So I cannot say that person want to kill someone, right? How do I know it? I cannot say I'm scared. But finally I stay in to be, try to be now their culture. That person have the religion. For a few times talking, that guy talking out. It's amazing. And before I really plan to kill, now I feel better I will not to kill them anyway, right? So I feel like that it's really blessing because before I talking to her, I'm really praying because I don't know how to talk. If something wrong, it might people kill all of us. But I have to be praying. But I talking, I'm not saying, oh, Chinese blah blah, or I'm the Buddhist blah blah. I'm not just asking for their culture, their faith.
But His Holiness is not advocating for us to abandon or let go of our respective religions. It's more that we want to develop a non-sectarian view that allows for others to have their religions. We have our religious or non-religious views.
Yes, but this book is not talking to us Buddhists on how to navigate a world of many religions and non-religions. It's talking to
Everybody.
I mean, we here, as we discuss it, I'm permitting myself to sort of ground it in, but no dogma. So often when problems arise, people have an unfortunate tendency to view them from too narrow a perspective. For example, imagine that your car won't start. For you to keep turning the key again and again, becoming frustrated and running the battery down would be foolish. It would be more realistic to pause and consider what might have caused the problem. Could it be a lack of fuel or something to do with the rainy weather? Simply stepping back and looking at the situation from a broader perspective will allow you to approach the problem more calmly. Needless to say, this will also give you a better chance of being able to deal with the problem efficiently. So problems, this is, I mean, we have all been confronted with problems that when they present themselves, they pop up as we are trying to do something that we have always done one way. And suddenly we're not able to do, and it's really hard for us to get out of the mindset that I've done it right. And you just keep on. My father, as he would face these problems dealing with his computer that didn't do things the way he expected it to, would hit the computer. And but though there are some mechanical devices that work when you give them a good hit, computers are not like that. And he would bring the computer all the way to this country. TechServe, you remember TechServe?
Yeah,
And TechServe had the ability to convince him that the solution to his problem was to buy a new computer. And he had a stack of computers. The problem is not solved by hitting the computer.
Or yelling at it.
Or,
Never works.
but the more objectively we can view the situation, and the more calmly we can view the situation, the more we can actually see all the different aspects of this complicated situation and figure out how to actually deal with it effectively. And it's really wonderfly true. I mean, it's so such a simple thing, and yet, we have all experienced that frustrated, persevering push to get it done the way we think it should be done. And again, the problem, call it a problem, the fact that the elements, all the different moving parts of a situation, they're all interdependent, and it's the fact that it is not fixed, and that it is not a question of our just pushing the fixed bunch of things in a one direction that's going to solve, but that it is a bunch of very complex interdependent parts that we have to then figure out how to best participate with. It's again, and I'm repeating this only because this becomes an opportunity for us to play with the notion of interdependence in yet another way. In our, and here I'm talking as a Buddhist, and I'm talking to Buddhists, in our, I think that we must maintain in our practices and in our lives an aim of working towards understanding interdependence, working towards understanding emptiness. We recite the Heart Sutra at the beginning of class, and the reason we recite it is to maintain our awareness of maintaining our some kind of intellectual understanding of the Buddha's teaching on the way by which we transcend cyclic existence and work towards the attainment of Buddhahood. And this when we talk about form is empty and emptiness is form, the whole idea that form is empty of any inherent existence, but that emptiness itself, that lack of inherent existence, is what brings about form, enables form. That understanding is something that we really have to work at recognizing within everything, in order to actually attain the state of being able to effectively help all sentient beings. As His Holiness says soon, the complexity of the world is too great for us to really master unless we are a Buddha or God, he says. The complexity of the situation is eventually realized by recognizing interdependence and its lack of inherent existence, by focusing on that lack of inherent existence to the point where we remove all obscurities, all obstacles, all tendencies towards obstacles, and attain a state of omniscience by which we can effectively not just take our own steps along life, but take the steps necessary to help others along their life paths. So, again, when misfortune befalls us, our tendency is to see it as the consequence of a single cause and rush to blame others. But this kind of overly emotional response is actually quite unrealistic. When the bus is late, what benefit do we gain from getting angry with the driver? Very often, the actions of a single person play only a minor role in the way events unfold. Responding to setbacks with accusations and blame, whether directed at others or at oneself, is generally misguided and very likely will only worsen the situation. So what is it called? The New Jersey Transit is a wonderful opportunity to think of these things. I stand there, and as I was born in Switzerland, I'm used to punctuality, and there is no sense of punctuality. Train arrives when it arrives, reaches its destination when it arrives.
It's not clean, like Switzerland.
So, the fact is, every incident we encounter comes about as a result of countless different causes and conditions, many of which are beyond any individual's control, and some of which may even remain hidden altogether. Now this is the interdependence that I think it's really valuable to think about. When we are in a situation where we are trying to figure out how to navigate it, what to do, to broaden our view of the situation, instead of just trying to figure out how to take the next step with it, really stand back and see the complexity of the situation. That in itself, that recognition itself, will help us navigate.
Can I ask, in the Buddhist philosophy, is there any kind of randomness asserted? Or is everything said to have a cause?
So,
Even if we can't see it.
yeah, no. I don't think we understand random. We, yeah.
What does that mean?
What does it mean that we don't understand random?
Yes.
It means that everything has some little subtle cause that causes it. I remember His Holiness once talking about how, if we're sitting below a tree and we are, fresh air, different sensations are caused by different sort of fluctuations of nature. Our experience of each of them and the happiness we may derive, the difficulties we may encounter, whatever it is, are all due to our own karma. They are all the results of our own actions. And then he said, but if a leaf falls from the tree, can one say that that is due to karma, or is there an arbitrariness to that? And, if we bring into the equation the little ant that's walking along the ground, and the tree and the leaf hits it or provides it with the food it needs, or whatever it is, that's an aspect of causality and the laws of karma that are benefiting or harming that insect along its path in life. And who knows of all the sentient beings that exist within space, within the space that the leaf falls through and disrupts in its path to the ground. So it's hard to bring randomness into the picture.
It's hard to assert any randomness.
Correct. But that's a little, here we're talking about quantum physics, and that's way beyond my pay grade. So, in the face of a major challenge, such as losing a job, we may become paralyzed by anxiety, locked into the negative aspects of what has happened, thinking, now I won't be able to support my family, and poor me, I'll never get a job. The danger of this attitude is that by focusing too narrowly on our immediate predicament, we will find ourselves unable to do anything about it. In contrast, using our discernment to look at the situations in their proper contexts and from different perspectives will help us find a solution. So, when we find ourselves overwhelmed, when we view ourselves, and I suppose that we have all felt that we are the victims of a situation. And so when we find ourselves in that situation, to be able to view it and really understand the complexities of the causes that have brought our dilemma or our situation about, will help us see more options. But again, I would say, well, if we are viewing situations from a karmic perspective, if we are viewing if we consider that we are the victims of a situation, and recognize that from the karmic point of view, the difficulties that we are encountering are the results of our own past actions. And if we accept and acknowledge the potential for our actions affecting our situation, then bringing some constructive, positive attitude to the situation itself begins to bring a change to the situation. So we are assuming a power, an ability to actually effectuate a positive result merely by our attitude towards it. An idea I'm presenting.
More in sync with reality, because everything is connected. So we single out, it's that guy's fault. We're already wrong, because that guy can't operate without other factors affecting him. So, but how can we do it? We know all this stuff because we need to train.
The mere constructive attitude towards something, not even getting involved, but just that constructive outlook has changed the dynamic totally.
What is the constructive outlook?
Standing back, seeing the, beginning to discern the mechanics, the causal relationships of all the elements, and including our own past actions that have brought the problem about, and those.
Mindfulness, recalling, remembering the teachings.
I think also what could be helpful is recognizing we may not be, it may not exist the way it appears to us.
That's for sure.
Therefore, we can have a little bit of a grain of salt.
So I don't understand this.
So we may say, okay, I'm in this situation where there's this person acting this way, it's caused this to happen, and then it has this result, and all of those things are seen to be very definite. So if we say to ourselves, oh, this might not be exactly how I'm perceiving it, it might give us a little bit of a chance to take a breath and have compassion for ourselves and others.
We automatically perceive solidity
Yes.
when there is none. Everything is always moving and affecting each other. But still, it's hard to get rid of that.
Yeah, but just, talking about it like this helps.
Yes, no, yeah, this is all I want to talk about. Makes sense, really.
I wanted to talk about something else.
So you go crazy. Possibly in cameras. Yes, all right, I'll give you that. That's a side issue. In another world system, that's how we talk.
So, inevitable uncertainty. Of course, no matter how hard we may try, human discernment is always incomplete unless we are clairvoyant or omniscient, like Buddha or like God. We will never see the entire picture, and we will never know all the causes that have given rise to any situation. So, yes, here we are. Nor can we foresee all the consequences of our actions. There is always bound to be some element of uncertainty. It is important to acknowledge this. But it should not worry us. So I find this interesting. The idea that His Holiness says, it should not worry us. So there's always bound to be some element of uncertainty in a situation. and this is important to acknowledge, but it should not worry us. So we should not be worried about the fact that there are elements of uncertainty. Still less should it make us despair of the value of rational assessment. Instead, it should temper our actions with proper humility and caution. So,
That's
when
beautiful.
sorry?
That's beautifully
Yeah,
said. Very
yeah.
helpful.
So the fact that we are not able to see the entirety of the complexity of the situation and understand just how to do things correctly, we should accept the fact that we can't do this, do so with a certain humility. Sometimes admitting that we do not know an answer can be helpful in itself. If we do not know something, it is better to admit it openly than to feign certainty out of misplaced pride and vanity. Well, that's
I don't know.
It's hard. It's kind of hard to say I don't know sometimes. It's like, I don't want to show it, you know?
I mean, 90% of the time, that's what you should say.
With a little white lie sometimes.
Yeah. Well, at work, all these rules are suspended. I'm joking.
But they know that, you know, admitting one thing is helping, you know, but sometimes it's so hard to say that I don't know.
It is.
so I've learned. I mean, I'm very fortunate because we had a teacher who taught me how to say I don't know. And I learned how to say it in the language of South India, of Karnataka. Gotilla means I don't know.
Gotilla.
Yes, it's very useful. And in China, in Taiwan, Pusutao. Pusutao is very useful. So learning how to say I don't know.
That could be a course in itself. In all the languages. Japanese, what is it? I don't know. Shiranai? Shiranai. Maybe.
Shiranai. So you don't know.
I don't know.
Hey.
So
Can we explore why the uncertainty should worry us?
Why uncertainty shouldn't worry us?
well, worry is of no value. To worry, as His Holiness often says, if you can do something about it, don't worry. If you can't do anything about it, what's the use of worrying? So worry is a misplaced mental affliction.
So caution is not worrying.
Caution is not worrying. To be cautious about how you go about something is to be careful. To worry is it's the mind working in excess. So worry.
Okay, I have a
No
question.
sleep.
It's
That
most
always
like
leads to
me,
no sleep.
because like me, it's the most the problem is the worry a lot. So I don't know how to throw away the worry the problem is. So what can I do?
So as I say,
Yeah, yeah.
His
I know that.
Holiness's
If you
answer.
Worry, yeah. Worry, if you worry now, why you worry, right? If you're not there, or whatever. So I now fearing, I know how to say it. But inside, I'm always worried, so much worried. So what can I do? What can help me to throw away the worry? Fear become true. I know worry cannot help me, but I still mentally still worry a lot.
So, worry is a mental action, right?
Yeah.
And if we can only engage in one mental action at a time. So when you have this worry, if you begin to think in a clear way, this worry doesn't benefit me. I have to actually make effort to solve whatever the problem is. And once I've made that effort, I should relax. That thinking, while you're thinking like that, you've pushed the worry aside.
I
The
wish
worry,
they
no, the worry will
still
come back.
think-
It'll
You
come
gave
back.
its food, you
It'll
took
come
away
back.
its nourishment. That's
Yeah,
right. You gave
it'll
away
come
its
back. But
Yeah.
that's what you have to apply that nourishment, as Tony says, that mental nourishment, that food, or poison to attack the worry. You just think like that. Then the worry will dissolve a little bit. Then when it comes back, you think, no, that's ridiculous. It's a waste of time. I know it.
Don't play with me.
Mm,
You come.
don't play with me.
You know that we people are really just be crazy, so much worry, so much scary, until who's show up. When master should come, then nature come out.
In
And
your
with
dream?
meditation, so peace. And 2 times, then no more peace again. My master not show up again.
Recollection
You have
of
to
the
say,
Guru
come
in
back
other
and
words.
help me with my worry.
But mostly it's really what I said is I know should be is not worry, not really tell me why you tell you. But always
Still.
is bothering me, the most problem. Right now it's like that I would be try go to the first to San Francisco first. Now I also come out. Who's come to pick me up? I call the car.
Yeah, that's it.
What can
Make
I
it-
do it? And I
Make a big
scared.
deal out of it.
Yeah,
Then
then scared again.
you came all the way from China many times.
Then I'm not worried.
No
China,
problem.
no
You did it.
worry.
So if you can do that, you can wait. Put up with Brooklyn.
So on that note,
I don't know.
Any names there?
Hmm?
There's one question on yourself.
Question, wait a minute.
it,
Obama's asking a question. What's the question?
so
Oh, well, Mickey has it.
analyze is my decision. What do you mean analyze is my decision?
Analyze if my decision, sorry. If.
So, in other words, I must analyze if my decision will cause harm. If so, if I make that decision, it will later cause me harm and will not fulfill my own aim to be free from suffering. So, what's being suggested is that we should analyze to see if our decision will cause any harm. If it will cause harm, and if we make that decision, it will later cause us harm and will not affect our aim to be free from suffering. Yes, I agree with that. So, the suggestion is that we should analyze to see if whatever action is will cause us harm. This is not talking about whether it'll cause other people harm. It's
That sounds like something Bill would write music on his time. That's just the way he presented his messages.
yeah. This is Jeff.
Well, Jeff, Tara mantra.
So, I hope that I have responded
Very
to that.
Very good, very down to earth.
So we will recite the Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels. Here we are recollecting the qualities of the Buddha, the fully enlightened being, the Dharma, the doctrine, the methods that we should practice in order to attain Buddhahood, and the Sangha, the community engaged in that practice. So this recollection of the qualities of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha is what we recite now. I prostrate to the Omniscient One, thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arhat, Samyak Sambuddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him is he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strength cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He is not stained by the realm of desire. He is not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavat is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. Sangha, the great yana, they enter completely. They enter insightfully. They enter straightforwardly. They enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore their fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. Now we recite the prayer for a swift return of Datu Kyongla Rinpoche. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lobsang Tuwang Dorjin Chan. Please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speed to the victor Lobsang's teachings. Spread them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening, yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serve the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for us till sickly existence ends to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by Bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as a unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings, and wish-fulfilling jewel. Return as the glory of Lobsang Tempe. Magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karmayama, and Srimati Devi, in the ocean of Dharma protectors, may you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. Thank you. And tomorrow night we will meet in South Orange, New Jersey. You are all welcome to come there at 7 o'clock, 502 North Ridgewood Road, South Orange, New Jersey.